new book, Kant to Wittgenstein, etc. So, which part would be the best? How about this guy? Comte, whatever. Like the utilitarians, Comte saw that the development of science had given man great powers to improve his lot and to create a satisfactory environment for himself. He also saw, as they did, that science had created vast social problems that had not existed in earlier and simpler times. Like the utilitarians, he noted the disparity between the high level of knowledge of physical nature and the almost total lack of application of the new methods to the study of man. Like the utilitarians, he thought the solution was to create a science of man and to utilize it to solve all the menacing social problems that had followed in the wake of the Industrial Revolution. To develop and to apply such a science seemed to Comte a relatively easy task. He would have been amazed had he known that men are still calling upon science to solve the problems that science helped us to create. It's kind of ironic. One reason why Comte was so optimistic about the development of the scientific sociology was that, like the utilitarians, he shared the Enlightenment's sense of human rationality and of the orderliness of the universe. But he had lost the Enlightenment's conviction that all, or at least most men, are rational and capable of acting on the basis of a long-range intelligent analysis. He thought that in most men emotion is dominant and that only a few men, an elite, are capable of sitting down in a cool hour and using scientific method to ascertain the answers. Hence, his is the administrative point of view par excellence. Although the social world looks like a muddy haze to the layman, to the administrator it falls into a relatively simple pattern. The whole problem, therefore, is to enable the administrator to put his scientific knowledge to work in improving the condition of society. But how is the administrator to induce citizens to adopt his programs? Given the inferior intellects of the majority of citizens, Comte did not think it practicable to rely on each individual's recognition that conformity is in the long run most likely to promote his self-interest. I have a feeling he's going to be a fascist. Rather, Comte advocated a highly organized and tightly controlled society, of the kind that economic planning has made familiar in our time. Within this framework, conformity would be assured by appeals to emotion and sentiment. Though this is a rejection of laissez-faire, there is less difference between Comte's position and that of the Benthamites than might be supposed. Bentham could believe in more laissez and less faire, because men being simple pleasure machines. The administrator's job becomes simply one of adding and subtracting suitable units of pleasure. What is he talking about? Comte had to argue for less laissez and more faire because he rejected the simple conception of motivation. Hence, instead of depending on citizens to make the pleasure-pain calculus that Bentham believed them capable of, Comte invented an elaborate religion with a new calendar of saints, new festivals, and a new cult designed to move men to adopt the more socially acceptable conduct that the administrators wished them to follow. Thus, Comte belongs to the Platonic tradition, both in the sense that he held there is a definite set of answers, and in the sense that he believed only relatively few people capable of discerning and acting upon them. But whereas Plato believed that these answers are eternal forms cognized by pure acts of reason, Comte held them to be empirical connections ascertainable by methods similar to those used in the natural sciences. Interesting. Personal identity. Interesting. How about this? Our vocabulary is not a complete list of possible kinds. By Locke. We rightly consider and confine not our thoughts and abstract ideas to names, as if there were or could be no other sorts of things than what no names had already determined, and as it were set out, we should think of things with greater freedom and less confusion than perhaps we do. It would possibly be thought a bold paradox, if not a very dangerous falsehood, if I should say that some changelings who have lived 40 years together without any appearance of reason are something between a man and a beast, which prejudice is founded upon nothing else but a false supposition that these two names, man and beast, stand for distinct species so set up by real essences, that there can come no other species between them. Whereas if we will abstract from these names and the supposition of such specific essences made by nature, wherein all things of the same denominations did exactly and equally partake, if we would not fancy that there were a certain number of these essences, wherein all things as in molds were cast and formed, we should find that the ideas of the shape, motion, and life of man without reason is as much a distinct idea, and makes it as much a distinct sort of things from man and beast as the idea of the shape of I'll say a donkey, with reason, would be different from either that of man or beast, and be a species of animal between or distinct from both. Here everybody will be ready to ask if changelings may be supposed something between man and beast. Pray, what are they? I answer, changelings, which is as good a word to signify something different from the signification of man or beast, as the names man and beast are to have significations different from the other. This, well considered, would resolve the matter, and show my meaning without any more ado.